Hello, my friends and enemies. Today is Friday, May 13th. Oh, it's a Friday the 13th. Time to celebrate. It's a very fine day, as King Friday the 13th would tell you. This video is perhaps the most smallest, silliest one I've done because Windows is prompting me to reboot my machine. You see, it says your device needs to restart to install updates. Select time to restart. So I am really anxiously awaiting such time as the graphics subsystem for the for the Windows subsystem for Linux reaches Windows 10, reaches anything other than the Windows Insider track for developers, for that matter. Right now, it's both on only Windows 11 and only on the Windows Insider track. Huge disappointment. I'm also waiting for this nifty screen transition that I really can't live without to reach Windows 11. That's what's keeping me from doing the upgrade to Windows 11. So every time I see something like this, I am very suspicious that it's Windows trying to slip in a Windows 11 upgrade on me without, oh look, see, it was unresponsive, so I clicked it multiple times. Now no, hey, that's nice. Okay, so the reason for this video, honestly, is to make sure I understand what the update is. Usually I would go, say, to the Microsoft site and find the page where updates are given, but you can just as easily go into settings and you can see it's, I guess it's named after the date, right? 2022-05. It's a little too coincidental, being the year and the month. So the updates are now being named for the date. That's good. Maybe they have been for a while and I haven't noticed it, but I'm reading it more carefully now because I'm waiting for things to come along. There is an update for the .NET framework, which I wish I wasn't forced to even have on my machine. That's Microsoft's answer to Java, which is another thing I wish I didn't have to have on my machine. It's carryovers from when .NET and Java ruled the world. Those days are over. Python and JavaScript, Node.js, rule the world now. So let's rip these things off the machine and never look back, but we can't. 4.8. Okay, so there's a version number here that's more of the type I'm familiar with. This is 21H2 for x86 hardware, and then there's that really specific update. So one of the things I like to do before going into this is to copy that whole thing. At least, thankfully, they let you copy it. I'll minimize this. I'll pop open my journal in the way I always do. One should know that it's Control-Alt-T on my machine to bring up a terminal. I only leave these icons out so that I can double click them. Double click them. I only leave those icons out so that I can have the keyboard shortcuts, just so that you know. What I just did is because on the properties of this icon, there's Control-Alt-T. You can see I've recently added Firefox, because you can know I recently added it because both it wasn't there before and it has a long name. So I'll just change that to F if that does not conflict. You need, admin level authorization to rename an icon on your desktop. Go figure. Now I can go into properties for that, and I can now run Firefox with Control-Alt-F. See, doesn't conflict with anything. Now I have a new, need admin approval again. Now I have a permanent new addition to my workflow. This is the righteous feedback loop. Whenever I need Firefox, I Control-Shift-F and Firefox will appear. I'm not going to do it right now because I probably have icons for work in there. None of your business. But here I am in the full screen terminal, and to load my journal, I do /all. And you might go, what? Well, it's because if I were to vim all.sh, it would let you see what's in the file and turn on wrap so you can see. I load 20 different text files from different locations on my machine corresponding to different websites I'm continuously, publishing to by copying and pasting entries I make in my private journal to mikelev.in, mike@11.com, my weekly reports for work, mike11seo.com, and so on. So I got to watch this because I feel free to cycle through these, all of them being public as they are, but that new one weekly report I put in there is not public, so I can't just cycle through my journals for you. But I'll quit out of Vim, I'll load all my journals with ./all.sh, and I will do :ls just to show you another view of all these things loaded into memory. And if I wanted to jump to my vimrc, for example, I would do :b ~.v tab. There's my vimrc. That is, as you can see, this entry here. It's the one that's active, so I guess that's what %a means. And I jumped right to it with a named buffer trick. So that's all kind of neat and important stuff, but I want to be on B1. OB1. OB1 is very powerful. And then, even though it's my private journal, there ain't nothing here that I'm oversharing, except some of my mantras to get started, and not even my latest. You should check out my blog post, my latest blog post at mikelev.in. I got to update this. But the world is your checklist, so look around. You don't really need to checklist so much if you got open eyes and you are capable of observing. And so I have a few reminders to myself. But the most important thing is the macro @j that I use, which starts a new journal entry, where I will be pasting in, that is now going to need editing, but that is absolutely fine. I am going to do one of my rare edits, which is just fine to do because I'm on Camtasia rather than live casting. I'm doing it with Camtasia so that I can deal with things like this, and also so that there's less screen clutter, because you would at least be seeing a web browser also loaded here instead of just the minimal stuff I want. So screencasting is an okay way to do it. I'm going to have to recopy this. That responsiveness is terrible. There we go. Still terrible responsiveness. What the heck is going on with you, Windows? Is it because I'm screencasting? Maybe. But I was able to highlight that before. It's becoming a unique challenge. There we go. There's probably stuff going on in the background. You always have to Control-C multiple times these days. There's some strangeness going on with copy buffers in Windows these days that makes you really, really want to have to copy. So about to do this update to my system. And then before I actually go and let it do the update, I'm going to copy this, go to Edge, paste that in, and see what that's about. Because do you trust it? I don't know. Who knows? Hopefully it's good stuff. I guess you got to let these service packs and updates happen. But it's just good to know what they're about. Catalog update or support.microsoft. This security update addresses, cumulative update for now. Right? This one, the catalog, right? I want to see it cataloged. It's not the top search result, but it does sound more promising. I don't want to just hear, a support entry. I want to hear, enumerated list of things that are happening here. If it'll ever pull up. My internet seems to be slow. Once I saw a update was coming into my machine, I figured that was the reason for the slowness. Now I'm not quite so sure. 10-minute video. Sometimes you think you ought to just switch to Linux wholesale. But I can't blame this on Microsoft necessarily. It is my tendency, but I might just have slow internet right now. Waiting for Google. Okay, so Google finished. It still says waiting for Google, even though it's loading a Microsoft page. Go figure. And now we do one more search from within the web browser. Oh, these are all for that. Okay, so these, everything I'm looking at here is what happens in the service update. I'm not sure if you can see my little Camtasia interface, but I'm moving it out of the way for me to read. Oh, these are all the ones for the different hardwares, right? So I'm x86 hardware. I'm sure I'm going to be the top most popular. I am the mainstream one. I'm not downloading it. Hey, what's that doing? Cumulative update. Is it details? Description has been identified. So the more information brings you to the support one. So I was wrong about which one to click from Google. I need to go to the support one and not the catalog. Catalog is where you download it from if it wasn't auto downloaded. So I go back to Google, I click the other link, and I start this strange long wait. In the field of SEO, this would be considered completely unacceptable, but who knows if it's the website or my internet connection. Where a local user opening a specially crafted file could, okay, so this is fighting against phishing. Fighting against phishing that takes advantage of a .NET vulnerability, it sounds like. Additional information about this update. I guess this is the description of the cumulative update, right? This is not easy, right? You want to know more? Maybe I should have searched on Bing instead of Google. Maybe Microsoft only answers your questions if Bing was your search engine. Come on, that's still loading. There's the spinning wheel, so we know it's still loading. Do 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 do. Oh, of course. Buy Microsoft 365. The purpose of this is to get you to spend money. Is that what I was waiting for? Go to the catalog. It's also circular. Additional information. Isn't that what I clicked? This is what I just clicked here, and I just got done waiting for that. Was this information helpful? No, Microsoft. It didn't match my screen. Incorrect instructions. Not enough information. Please make it easy to read an enumerated list, that's redundant, but so what, of changes in, changes to the system. I want to know how they're going to change my system. That will happen with updates such as, I still have it in my copy buffer. There was no answer. Clearly, it's something about a .NET vulnerability when people send you file attachments, but that's about all they seem to be saying here. Ugh. All right, that's it. Yeah, so I close out of that. I go back to settings, and I will allow this silly thing to restart, and hopefully after it restarts, I'll have my Camtasia file on the drive. It's kind of a risk right there, but I'm going to get as much of